Welcome back to Nerds Explain It All. I'm Zach.
I'm Lance.
And this week we're joined by special guest, Nick. What's up, Nick?
Hey, guys. Long time.
That's right.
Yeah.
Nick went to high school with us back in the day. When's the last time we talked, Nick?
That's a really good... Well, like,
outside of
recently.
the internet.
Yeah,
okay.
outside of the internet.
2005?
Yeah.
Is that when you graduated?
It sounds about right. Yeah, put a date on it. That's when I graduated high school. So, yeah, man, we were all in band together. Nick, one of our favorite memories. You don't know this, but
Yeah.
is it used to be me and Steve, and then a couple of our friends. We'd like be walking down the hallway, and you like meet up with us in between classes, and you'd be like, "Hey, did you guys see the Fresh episode?" Because you were talking about Smallville, and they used to call it the Fresh episode. And I swear to God, you were the only person in real life I ever heard referred
Actually
to
called it the Fresh
as
episode.
the Fresh episode.
Okay, so...
Buying into their marketing BS.
Okay, so that was me really trying to fit in. Like, I honestly think that was just me trying to find the group of people I wanted to hang out with and what I wanted to do. And hey, Smallville was good at that time.
Smallville was my life, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I remember borrowing the VHS recordings that you made and like
Oh,
sitting
that's
down.
right.
Yep.
Oh, man. That was before DVR, kids. Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, so
Hey, speaking of Smallville listeners, if you're bored on a late Wednesday, early Thursday morning, they're re-showing Smallville on TNT at like 1 a.m. It's hilarious. They're on season 2 right now, and I've been live tweeting it the past couple of weeks.
yeah, everybody go to @SirLanceLaster around 1 a.m. Central Standard Time on
Yeah.
on Wednesday night / Thursday morning. So Lance will be live tweeting. That's going to be your thing now, live tweeting Smallville repeats.
I think so. It's pretty fun. It's a good, nice little trip down memory lane.
Well, you're a teacher. You got the summer coming up, so it's a little more reasonable
Just a little
for you
bit.
to
Yeah.
do that. I was like, man, he's going to be tired tomorrow, but it's worth it. So
I don't care, man.
well, glad Nick. I'm glad we made you feel like you belong somewhere. So
Thank you guys. If anything, it probably started my small journey in high school and learning some comic book things.
well, we apologize then.
Yeah, I know, right?
So you've been listening to the shows, Nick? You a fan of Nerds Explain It All?
Yes, I am. Like I mentioned before, we went to high school, and it kind of just reminded me of high school days.
Mm-hmm.
And I caught myself laughing a couple of times to myself in my room just because of the things you guys would say.
Excellent. We decided to do this podcast because, you know what, we're going to talk about this stuff anyway.
Yeah.
We might as well record it and put it out there for other people to listen to, because I'm sure at least 5 or 6 other people will enjoy this. So
Yes.
if nothing else, but cool, man. I'm glad you're enjoying the show. So
Yeah,
that makes it worthwhile.
your opinions, it's like a way for me to figure out, oh, that's exactly what I was thinking, but I didn't know how to put it to words.
One of the main reasons Nick is here is we all went to Comicpalooza this past week. And now Comicpalooza is probably the biggest Comic-Con in Texas. Would you guys agree with that?
I'm gonna tentatively say yes because I haven't been to Dallas yet.
Yeah,
I
Dallas
plan on
does
going
seem
to
to be pretty
Dallas.
legit. Yeah.
Yeah. I plan on going there one of these days, but it's always at a time where I can't go. But as of right now, I'm going to tentatively say yeah, because Comicpalooza, it's only gotten bigger. Because Zach, you and I remember when it was like garbage.
Yeah, it's come a long way. Nick, have you been to Comicpalooza before this year?
This is actually my second time.
Okay.
The first time I went last year, I actually wanted to go see the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. cast, but I got there late. I bought my ticket the day of, and I waited
you were in line?
3.5 hours in line just to get in.
Did you? Oh, so you missed it because you ran.
Yeah,
line.
so I missed it.
Yeah.
Well, I got in right when it started, and I had no idea where to go.
Oh, yeah.
And I just ended up in the vendors area with my friends, just walking.
You didn't miss anything. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is garbage. So, spoiler.
At the time, I was a really, really big fan, so that's why I really wanted to go.
If you don't Lance and I both got 4-day passes this year, and we picked up our passes early, so we just showed up wearing our badge. We got to walk right in. But if you had to stand in line or even at will call, it's going to take you. Yeah, game over, man. So,
funny story about that. Like, I actually got the 4-day pass this year. I did pick it up 2 weeks before the actual convention. And because of that 3.5 hour wait, we called it instead of Comicpalooza, we called it LineCon because you waited outside for an hour and a half to get inside for another an hour and a half to wait in line again.
Yeah. Last year, like most years for this thing, like I pre-order my tickets, and then last year, even I, like for somebody who had pre-ordered and pre-registered like a long, like way in advance, I was in line for an hour. And it was like this can't happen again. So I'm glad
you got to get the early pass pickup. It's the key. And I'm glad they did it this way. They did that because I was introduced to a new comic book store. It's called the Pop Culture Company, best comic book store in town.
Oh, wow.
I was very impressed by the combination of new and old stuff, because you get your Third Planets and your Nan's Comics and Games, and they're cool. I mean, they're cool and they're retro, and they have a bunch of old nostalgic stuff. But they're kind of the stereotypical creepy comic book store. And then you go to your Bedrock City, which, I have a subscription at Bedrock City, but it's so clean and new, and it's like walking into a generic store, if you will. It's not a lot of character there. And there's nothing wrong with that per se, but I felt like the Pop Culture Company kind of has the perfect balance of, we got new stuff, we got old stuff, we're clean, and we're not creepy, but we're not too clean and not creepy that we're generic. You guys know, you follow me? So,
I do follow you.
So I would definitely, like, if I lived out in that part of town, I would totally go there. And like I said, not to slight the other stores, but I just find, like, if it's a graphic novel published before, like, 2006, you're not going to find it at Bedrock City, And Third Planet just smells like mold. Have you ever been to Third Planet, Nick?
I have not, but I've driven by it a couple times.
Yeah, you got to go in there, man. How can you be a comic book fan living in Houston, Texas, and not going to Third Planet?
Okay, so
I've been going to there since I was like 3 years old.
It's true.
So my whole comic book, I guess, journey restarted all over again, like earlier this month.
Nick, we're not here to talk about you. Okay, we're here to talk about Comicpalooza.
I just wanted to say that because it's just funny that how everything just ended up falling in place. Even just talking to you guys again and finding your your show, and I was just like, what?
What got you back into comics?
I'm trying to figure out exactly what happened. I think my coworker and I, for lunch, we work off of Westheimer, so we're right next to the Bedrock City Comics. Mm-hmm. We went there, and he started recommending some comics. It started off with Saga, Saga, Chew, like some of the like off, I wouldn't say off-brand, but the other comics, like Y the Last Man. And because I am such a big Flash fan of the TV show,
as you should be,
and a season 1 and 2 of the Arrow fan.
Oh yes, there you go. You speaking my language, yeah.
I was like, okay, I'll pick up Flash New 52, just the first one, and I started to read it. And the next time we stopped by, I picked up Suicide Squad New 52, and I actually loved it. I ended up getting all 5 trade backs, read it through and through, and then I just started talking to people who worked at Bedrock City Comics, and they started giving me recommendations. So I've read Forever Evil. I'm reading Secret Six.
Forever Evil's good. Yeah, really good.
Yeah, I'm reading Secret Six, which is kind of like a weird spin-off of what's it called? Of Suicide Squad. And now I'm getting into Batman. So I just finished Batman Hush. And the Morrison ones. I just read Batman and Son. I have Batman Resurrection of Ra's al Ghul coming up. It's in my box. So...
well, that's cool, man. I'm glad you're getting into comic books. Lance and I are kind of on the opposite end of that spectrum. We're kind of getting out of comic books now because to bring it full circle, when we went to Comic-Con in 2011 in San Diego, they launched the New 52, so we kind of got roped in. It was, oh man, this is awesome. We're gonna be part of this thing. I'm gonna have every issue of Superman ever from this. Anyway, we ended up subscribing to way too many comic books, and now that they did this whole
more than you.
Yeah, true. They did this whole convergence thing, and now they're going to quote-unquote end the New 52. It's a perfect time to get out. So, because I really don't like the direction of pretty much anything anymore, unless Jeff Johns writes it. I love Jeff Johns. He's my favorite. That's why Forever Evil was awesome.
It was.
Court
of Owls was good.
Court of Owls was great. I definitely recommend going back and reading Greg Capullo and Scott Snyder's run on Batman.
Azzarello's run on Wonder Woman was good.
Jeff Johns' run on Aquaman.
Yes, and
pretty much all the Flash,
Green Lantern, the first 20.
The first 20, yeah.
About the first 20 or so of Flash as well.
Pretty much you're good with the first creative team on every book. You're good. except for
Okay.
Detective Comics. Detective Comics was garbage.
Yeah.
Don't bother.
I'm
The second team was good, but not the first. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna either have to take some notes and listen to the show again.
yes,
or-
yes, you'll have to download the show on your iTunes because we're on the iTunes store.
Yes,
Please go download
yeah.
us. Nerds
That's
explain
where
it
I
all.
listen to you guys. So.
We all went to Comicpalooza. It was a 4-day event, Friday through Monday. Did you go on Friday, Nick?
No, I did not. I was stuck at work, unfortunately.
All right. Well, Lance and I did go on Friday.
Oh,
Yep.
lucky. I wanted to see Haley.
Yes, and I almost
did.
I almost didn't because I work for myself, so I can kind of control my schedule. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna get some work done, and I'm gonna go down to the Georgia Brown in time to see Haley Outwell. And they moved her. I got this notification on my phone when I'm about to wrap up and leave for the day, and it says, "Attention, Haley Atwell's panel has been moved up 1 hour." I was like, "What the hell? Like, you can't
Yeah,
do that!"
yeah.
Like, people.
I saw
thought
that.
I was going
saw
to miss
that on
the
Facebook.
whole thing because if you're not on top of social media, I'm sure, and I feel sorry for him too. I'm sure so many people showed up at that time because when it's pretty much the first big thing they had.
It was.
So I'm sure a lot of people
She
decided
was the first big star that was
I'm
there.
going to show up. Yeah, she was only there on Friday, so they say I'm going to show up at this time and see Haley Atwell, and that's great. When you move it forward an hour, when I got there, I missed maybe the first 5 minutes of the thing, but I got, hey, if much like you, Nick, when you first tried to go, if I hadn't had my pass on already, never would have made it. Anyway, Haley Atwell was great Q&A. She's real nice with all her fans. Obviously really has a great passion for the Agent Carter character. She talked a little bit about season 2 and how it's just going to be in L.A., and she's actually the only cast member that's been announced.
Now there were some shots of her and Lindsay Fonseca at the St. Louis Comic-Con, the Wizard World. So I don't know if that's just because she was there or what that means, but
then that is her best friend character on the show.
Yeah.
And she did mention that that's a great relationship, and she'd love to see it continue. So hopefully they at least keep that thread. I guess what this Howard Stark moves them to L.A. because they're roommates now.
Yeah.
It was a really good panel, and she was real nice with all her fans. Lance and I both got signed pictures from her. So that was
Nice.
real cool to get to meet her ever so briefly, but with those big stars, that's just how it is, So,
Right.
and it's not that I will say every celebrity I met at this show was very nice.
yes.
They should be. I mean, don't get me wrong, but they don't have to be because some of these people you hear about, you're always afraid. It's like Troy says on Community, you can't disappoint a picture.
Yes.
You don't want to meet these stars because you don't know how it's gonna color your fandom. But all these guys are great. So Haley Atwell, that was number one, and then I also met John Schneider. I'd actually met him before working in TV, but I met him again on Friday, and I got a autographed picture. Like when I met him in TV, I just got a picture with him and went on my way because he was there for something else. I didn't want to bother him too long, but I was able to get a signed autographed picture from him this time, and he said, "Always hold on to Smallville."
Yep.
His last quote. He's like, "Here's my last quote of the show." So he was real, and he was great. He was in front of the table greeting people.
Yeah.
What else did we do on Friday, Lance? What else was going on Friday?
I'm trying to remember. Because now it's all kind of starting to bleed into each other.
Oh, I remember the Star Trek versus Star Wars panel.
Oh my god.
Oh my god! So
Wait,
No wonder-
they had a panel for that?
yes, and it was pretty much exactly what I expected. You say that, you can just imagine, I'm sure, in your mind's eye how that goes down. And they actually split the room, like, hey, Star Wars fans over here, Star Trek fans over there. Ah! The highlight of the whole thing was one guy turning on his lightsaber at key comedic times
Yes.
to make a point. But God, you had the older guys in the Star Trek costumes, and you had people just completely immersed in the Star Wars expanded universe, and it's like, man, I know what some of you guys are saying, but you've gone too deep. You've gone too deep.
Just a little bit.
I did speak up and say something because they were talking. I actually found the most interesting part of that conversation was the economics of the future. Talking about Star Wars as credits, and Star Trek has no money, or at least the Federation has no money. So I actually spoke up during that time and made a point, but I felt like I should say something.
What was it taken fairly well, or?
No, it's fine. No, it just yeah. They just moved on, and because they had like 50 things they wanted to talk about. It wasn't a very structured discussion.
No.
And they were talking about the robots or the aliens or this or that, and they eventually decided all right, final tally is we like them both, yay!
Yeah.
Whatever. But it was exactly what I expected going to a Star Trek versus Star Wars panel. The people that were there, the things that were said.
Yes.
He had some guy arguing for Emperor Palpatine how he was the best ruler of anything because the Empire was blah blah blah. I'm like, well, the trains ran on time. You basically just applauding the Empire for being Nazi Germany. So that was interesting. And then we walked around the floor a lot on Friday just to kind of get
our bearings.
I also met Akira Takarada on Friday.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
Yeah,
he was very nice.
Yeah,
very gracious.
He was a star for probably a dozen Godzilla films from the 60s and 70s. And he's Japanese. He's from Japan, and he came to America for this. And he's got to be like 80 years old, and he was great. Like he was so nice. It was me and Lance and another one of our friends, AJ. We're walking around, and so I met him, and I got him to sign a picture from my favorite Godzilla movie, Monster Zero, which he's a star, and he plays an astronaut in it. And then he actually pointed out that Nick Adams was the other guy in the picture with him, and Nick Adams was actually really good friends with James Dean, and they died young, too. It was very similar, very eerie similarities between those two guys. But he's like, oh, Nick Adams. I was like, yeah, it's my favorite movie, And I got my picture with him, and then he saw that Lance and AJ were my friends. He's like, "Oh, you friends? Oh, everybody in picture." So we took another picture with all of us. It was great. I mean, he spoke a little more English than I expected him to. And man, to have some guy who's 80 years old is in Godzilla movies, he's in a suit too. He's looking professionally. I mean, it's a culture thing.
He was legit.
Japanese, but yeah, and I'm glad Godzilla is back like in the mainstream now. Because they would not be bringing Akira Takarada to Comicpalooza if Godzilla movie had not come out in 2014.
Oh yeah, not at all.
But yeah, I mean that was pretty much the gist of the first day, and there was also cool. We saw of course like the Jurassic Park cars and the Lance you got a picture of the Speed Racer car,
the Mach 5. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, I did too.
There you go. Oh, one last thing we did. I forget which day was which when we were walking around on the floor, but I actually met Chuck Huber, who to me. This is funny. To me, he's Dr. McCoy on Star Trek Continues, which is a fan series. Do you like Star Trek, Nick?
Yes, I do.
Good. Well, you should watch Star Trek Continues.
You really should.
It's
really
amazing.
good.
It's legit. It's
another item for my list.
It's a fan series continuation of the original series because it was a 5-year mission, but they only had 3 seasons, right? But this is legit. Like there are other fan attempts that have happened in the past. Does not compare. This is too legit to quit this show. And actually, there's a new episode coming out this weekend. I'm very excited. I got a long weekend of work, and I'm going to save that episode for when I'm done. And I'm going to relax and watch a new episode of Star Trek Continues. Looking forward to it. But anyway, I'm like, hey, you're Chuck Huber. You're from Star Trek Continues. So I'm talking to him, and then Lance recognizes him from anime.
I recognize him from Dragon Ball because he's the voice of Emperor Pilaf, and he's also
because they're at a booth selling Dragon Ball Z stuff. Like,
yeah, because I see this picture. I see this picture of Pilaf, and like I'm not really putting two together at this point. And I was like, oh, this is cool. And he's just like, yeah, you like that Pilaf? I was like, yeah. I was like, because we were talking about how he's like kind of an obscure character and what blah blah blah. And then he does it in person. He does the voice of Pilaf. I was like, that's a really good Pilaf. And he's like, I am Emperor Pilaf, and he says it in the voice. I was like, holy shit. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, but and then so it's funny because we talked to him for a while, then we left.
Yeah,
and I was like, we should probably go back and
buy something,
get something from him. So you pay a little bit of money. I got my picture with him, and he signed a Star Trek Continues picture for me. Really cool. Just real nice guy, And so that was Friday. We started out kind of in different areas on Saturday, Lance. Like I went to a sci-fi writer panel, which is pretty interesting. They actually talk about what's the difference between science fantasy and science fiction. Talking about hard sci-fi, like Arthur C. Clarke kind of stuff. Is hard science fiction dead or not? Was an interesting discussion. And actually, what I took away most from that was their main point is for it to be true science fiction, science has to be a character in it. And they didn't even classify Star Trek as science fiction. But of all like the mainstream sci-fi, Star Trek is the most science fiction of it all because. Before J.J. Abrams got a hold of it, it actually used to take science seriously. That, and then also the trailblazing stories of science fiction that push it to the next level are usually short stories because you don't have to extrapolate a whole world, for one. And two, if people are going to give you a book deal, you gotta have a guaranteed success. But for short stories, they're in magazines and stuff like that, and that's why guys like Harlan Ellison, guys like that, used to write for magazines. So short story, short prose is the one that are really pushing the boundaries of not just science fiction, but all fiction. I thought that was a very interesting point. And, I live tweeted it. We tried to tweet all day, whatever we were doing and things like that.
Yeah.
To various success because I swear perception in George R. Bound is very shady. So, we tweeted through that. So definitely scroll through that back through our Twitter feed if you want to see some more points they made at that science fiction panel. Now, Lance, you went to a Ninja Turtles panel, did you not?
It was not a Ninja Turtles panel.
Proceed, tell us.
Oh my god! So I went to the Power Rangers Forever panel.
Power Rangers. Okay.
Yeah, and I shouldn't have. I should have stayed in the Marina Sirtis panel because damn, like I caught like some serious like secondhand embarrassment from some of these people that were in there. Like it was a lot like the Star Trek versus Star Wars panel in many respects. I will say though that there was an interesting discussion happening about like certain things. Like when we started, it started to pick up a little bit when we started talking about the fan trailer that came out a few months ago, and then they started talking about like the theology behind like the morphing grid. Now that means nothing to you, but like for people who are fans of Power Rangers will know what I'm talking about. And then like the differences between like the Japanese shows and then like what they did in America, and like Saban and how they've handled the property and stuff like that. Outside of that, I was kind of disappointed because like for some of these people who were supposed to be running this panel and people who are fans of Power Rangers, like they either seem misinformed or we were on completely different wavelengths about like the different seasons and which one was good, which one was not, which one made you think, which one didn't. Because like the ones that they really liked, I thought were garbage. And then my favorite season, Time Force. They thought it was terrible. I'm like, are you kidding me? That's like it's widely known that that's the best one. But anyway, it was a very interesting hour.
Yeah, so you should have stayed in Marina Sirtis.
I should have.
So Marina Sirtis, Counselor Troy on Star Trek: The Next Generation. I had no idea what to expect from her. But she came out of the gate strong, and she was hilarious. Like, she had a lot of great stories to tell. Honestly, about just like, okay, who has seen me before? Okay, try not to ask the same questions. Yep. So we get the same answers. And I swear to God,
oh my gosh,
the first question up there.
These people at panels ask these
excuse
weird
me,
questions.
What is your favorite Star Trek episode?
God,
oh my God. Talking about secondhand embarrassment, but she handled it very well. She had a funny quip. She said, "Measure of a Man," which is the one of the best episodes of the show. So good choice. It's where they determine if Data gets put on trial for if he's a sentient being with his own rights. And then she joked that Seth MacFarlane had ripped off that plot for Ted 2, which is true. Apparently, that's what they're doing. So, but she had a lot of good stories, behind the scenes stuff, talking about her uniforms and this and that, and I enjoyed it. It's someone who has followed Next Generation, because I was like, am I going to hear the same stuff I've heard 7 times, and all the DVDs and all the interviews and stuff? But no, she brought some fresh material, and I really like Marina Sirtis, and then I got my picture with her afterward and got a signed autograph, and very nice, very courteous with all her fans. But the one moment that stood out to me most in the panel was somebody was in line to ask a question, and they got up to the front, and they were wearing like this Emperor Palpatine kind of cloak, so you couldn't really see their face or anything. And God, I cannot remember what their name was. It was like, I want to say Elliot, but it wasn't. It was some weird kind of name that could be a boy or a girl, but it started with an E. So let's just go with Elliot for sake of conversation. He's like, "Hi, my name's Elliot." "Oh, hi, Elliot. Are you a boy or a girl?" "Neither." And then no one really knows what to say. Like half the crowd kind of laughs, but the other half is trying to be like PC and like, "Yay, good for you," knowing who you are, or not knowing who you are, I guess. But I don't even remember what their question was, but it was just so odd, But yeah, she had a lot of great stories to tell, and being a fan of Next Generation, I was not let down. I've seen Brent Spiner in person, and he was very entertaining. I'm 2 for 2 on Next Gen Stars, so I'm very pleased so far. So yeah, well, Nick, you were there on Saturday. What did you do on Saturday, man? Yeah, we've been talking a lot.
So Saturday. Unfortunately, all my coworkers were out of town that weekend, so I rolled up there by myself in the morning, and I ended up meeting up with some other friends from high school that I haven't seen in a long time. Actually, Aaron's sister,
yes.
Aaron Liu.
Yes,
I met with Aaron's sister. Kristen. I met up with them, and for me, I actually kind of had no plan on what to do that day. So I just went around in the dealer's room, saw a lot of things that I wanted to buy, but I shouldn't buy, like lightsabers. Oh man, they look so cool. But the biggest, I guess, the most exciting part of my day was 2 things. I did go see Henry Winkler. I haven't seen him. Yeah, I grew up watching Happy Days, and
Really?
It was funny. Yeah. I watched. Okay, I was an odd kid, I guess, because I loved watching Nick at Night, and Happy Days was one of my.
That's how I watched like all the Batman '66.
Well, yeah, that George Reeves Superman, Dick Van Dyke Show, I Love Lucy, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I was with one of my friends. He was like, "Oh, are you coming to see him because of Arrested Development?" I was like, "Oh no, it's for Happy Days." And when I talk with him, he talks a lot. Henry Winkler just talked a lot, and we happened to catch him right as soon as he was coming back from his lunch break. So it was just us talking for a while.
Nice.
He has some books for elementary kids that he has for like different grades, and he had different photos to sign. And one of them was him actually jumping the shark, which I thought was hilarious because that is one of my favorite tropes is just jumping the shark. And he was kind of surprised that I knew him from Happy Days. So we took a picture. I said A. He didn't say it. I don't know if he's just sick and tired of it, but he didn't say it. So that was a really cool experience for me to meet Henry Winkler. And later that day, or early
I'm sure
that
a lot
morning,
of people know him from The Waterboy too.
Oh, right, yeah.
I love The Waterboy
more than anybody else. Yeah.
Earlier that morning, I got there early. I actually got there like 30 minutes before anything started because I was so excited to go, and I was trying to figure out what to do. And for some reason, I beelined straight to the pre-order booth, and I actually got tickets to meet Stan Lee. It was my first time. I wanted to go. I wanted to go last year, and I was like, oh, too late. This year, I decided to go get his autograph. I was about to head out. I was like, okay, I'll just do it Sunday instead. But I noticed the line was really, really small. And so I was like, you know what? I have the ticket already. I don't have to buy it, so I'll just jump in line.
Everyone's at the Jeremy Renner panel, probably. That's why I know him.
Oh, that's probably what it was. I totally forgot that he was there, too.
Yeah.
charging
talk guy, right?
Charging a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah, what was it, Lance? You said it was how much for an autograph?
$165.
Are you kidding?
Yes.
You're kidding.
That's what I
got like heard. 12 John Schneider autographs for that.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. So I jumped in line, and I was literally the second person in line. He took a 10-minute break because his hand, he said he was hurting. I didn't realize how old he was.
Yeah, he's 92, isn't he?
He's 92.
Yikes.
And so he took a 10-minute break, and as we were waiting there, I was standing with the guy who painted himself as the Hulk, and he had me hold his poster because he didn't want to get green on it. And the guy in front of him, so I was really a third, it was like a vendor, and he had 200 items to sign.
Oh my God.
I was just thinking to myself, what is going to happen? As soon as he got back, the guy who was in charge was like, okay, we're going to let these guys go because there's only like 20 of them left because they already closed it off.
Yeah.
But I was thinking to myself, I can't believe that Stan Lee would sit here and sign 200 items when you know that they're just going to resell it. And I'm like, but good on him.
Well, did the guy pay for those?
Yes, the guy paid for it.
I was going to say, so how much was the Stan Lee autograph?
Stan Lee autograph was $70.
$70? Guy paid $1,400?
No. More than $14,000.
No. 14. No way.
That's exactly my. That was my thought as well.
You almost buy your own ship for that.
Yeah, I was wondering if there was like some bulk discount or something like that.
Yeah,
but
maybe so. I mean, how about an arthritis discount? My God, poor Stan Lee.
Exactly. And the greatest part, I guess, for me meeting Stan Lee, I briefly talked to him, but as I mentioned before, we had this Hulk guy in front of us. He was actually really straggly, really skinny. He didn't look the part.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
As soon as he left, I got to Stan Lee and I started talking to him. He's like, I loved your work. Thank you for everything you do. And he just laughed at me and looked at me. He went, that wasn't the Hulk, was it? And he was chuckling to himself as well with the assistant smile. And then I gave him a fist bump, took an autograph, and I was like, this was definitely worth it.
And you'll remember that for the rest of your life.
Yes. And I am that whole idea. I was like, thank you for putting the ugly Hulk in front of me. Sorry, not ugly, but the malformed Hulk in front of me so I can have a memory. Because I had no idea what I was going to say, but he took it off.
No offense to the Hulk guy. Look, I mean, good on you for painting yourself green, but come on. Yeah, you know what we're saying. None of us went to the Jeremy Renner panel, so whatever.
Is there a Kobe? Oh, and I did see Kobe Smulders as well. Colby's. I can't say her name.
Kobe!
Because when I was waiting in line, her autograph session was going on right next to it, and I just had a perfect view of her talking to her fans, and she seemed very lovely.
She is. She actually is. She's very nice. She took the time to like introduce herself to everybody, and shared a couple of things with everybody. She's very nice.
Did you know that she was on Smallville first, Nick?
I did not know.
She was in the episode of season 4. It's called Bounds, is the episode. So that'll be coming up in about 3 months on TNT, right, Lance?
Well, it depends, because like last night it was weird. They showed 2 episodes, and the week before they only showed 1.
Can't be staying up for that. Anyway, she plays the crazy ex-girlfriend Alexis. So,
wow.
Yeah, season 4. Check it out. So,
season 4.
Before she was famous.
Yes.
So.
Before she was famous.
Well, that wraps up pretty much day 2, Saturday, which brings us to Sunday. Now, Sunday, I got there, and first thing I did was I bought a Star Labs t-shirt.
I forgot to go back to buy one.
Yeah, The Flash is my favorite show on the air now, quickly becoming one of my favorite shows of all time. And then, actually, there was a podcasting panel, so I was very interested to go to that, and there was actually a lot of good tips and stuff from other Houston podcasters, so I'm going to actually try to network with some of those guys. So now we're all following each other on Twitter, and the Comical podcast actually, like, favorited and retweeted, like, almost all of our Comicpalooza tweets after that, so thanks to you guys. So yeah, so that was pretty cool. And then I didn't want to stay in network too long because I wanted to rush over and go to the Stan Lee panel, which was immediately afterward.
Yeah,
and it was awesome.
It was
like
awesome.
That was the highlight of the whole
super
thing.
Gracious. He's, I mean, just like as you were talking about, Nick, like your experience was it was pretty much the same, like in his panel. Did you go to his panel, Nick?
No, I was there on Sunday for other reasons.
Okay.
I was there for Chloe Bennet.
Okay.
And I'll let you guys finish first. So I'll let you guys finish your Stan Lee story. Then I'll come back to mine.
Well, he was just on point. I mean,
yes.
like people
He's
ask
very
him
sharp.
questions. Yeah, sometimes the moderator would have to repeat the question because a little hard of hearing. But I mean, he had funny answers, and then he had a serious answer to follow up his funny answer. It wasn't just like I don't know, kid.
Which he easily could have been like.
He would say something like that, and he's like, well, actually, the Hulk was gray, and then he was green, and he gave people real answers,
Yes.
So, I mean, really appreciated that. And the guy has a mind like a steel trap, as they say. Talking about stuff from 60 years ago now.
Yeah. But he's incredibly engaging. He knows how to work a room. He's a delight. I'm disappointed that like I didn't like do this stuff earlier and like see him earlier when he was a little bit, when he was younger and stuff, or if he did, it could be just a timing thing. He might not have done this when he was younger. But
I mean, up until the Marvel films, right?
Yeah.
They're what really brought him back into the limelight.
Yeah, but it's just really good to see him do this, and I'm glad he's so gracious with his time and his energy.
I mean, he answered some generic questions like, okay, who's your favorite superhero? Spider-Man. Who's your favorite supervillain? Doctor Doom. Actually, it was funny. People were asking about his upcoming possible cameos in the Deadpool movie or other movies. And then some guy came from backstage and like whispered in his ear, and he's like, well, I can't talk about future cameos. Sorry. So he said his favorite cameo he had ever done was the one in, ironically, Fantastic Four 2. Possibly the worst, one of the worst Marvel movies. But he plays himself. He's like, hey, I'm Stan Lee. I created the Fantastic Four, and they won't let him in the wedding. So, and then also they made a mention of his wife, and they've been married for 67 years.
Good for them.
Good for them. I mean, good for them. And she's actually a novelist as well. He had the funniest thing. He had a story about how his wife told him one day, I want to write a book, and he's like, okay, sure. Go ahead, because he thought it was going to be just whatever, right? So she comes back, she has all just pages and pages. Okay, hey, I wrote the book. So they sent it off to a typist, and he got it back, and the typist said, hey, this is actually pretty good, and it was some romance novel. I believe it was The Pleasure Palace, I think it was the title of it, and it was on the New York Teller, it was on the New York Times bestseller list for a couple weeks or month or whatever when it came out. I mean, it's just funny. So just across the board, great things to say. And then the best thing is he got up at the end and he's like, Excelsior! And everybody's like, woo! Woo! That's how these Comic Cons go. But it was great. That was the highlight of the whole convention. I'm really glad that I got to see Steve Stan Lee.
To backtrack just a little bit, you mentioned that his cameos, I was thinking, like, I think one of the best cameos he could do for Deadpool is, like, if Deadpool recognizes who he is. Breaks that fourth wall.
Somebody wanted to talk about that. Somebody wanted to suggest that was a possibility. He was like, I can't talk about it. So that very well could be what happens.
He's like, hey, you're the guy from all those Marvel movies.
Or like, thank you for creating me, or starting this all. And I think it would be a really nice nod to his fourth wall. Mm-hmm. So, man, I wish I went.
Well, yeah, I mean, Lance, did you go to his panel last year?
I did.
Okay, so how similar was it to that?
Pretty similar. I mean, because and also I've heard those stories before. Some of them, like the creation of Spider-Man,
Mosquito Man,
why Hulk is green instead of gray.
Right, but everybody wants to know, and it's funny. I thought the same thing too. It's like, man, I've heard this before, but to be in the room while the guy's telling the story, it adds an extra oomph to it.
Yeah, it does.
Quick question about that: was there a lot of young people there too? Because I know with the recent movies, especially with Avengers 2 that just came out, I was just curious how many parents brought their kids to go see Stan Lee.
Yeah, I don't think there was one demographic. I think it was just spread across all the demographics, really.
Yeah.
So what were you up to on Sunday?
The reason why I got the 4-day pass is as soon as Chloe Bennet was announced for Comicpalooza, I was like, I have to go. Mm-hmm. And I asked all my friends. Yes. I asked all my friends who's up for going. I was like, okay, we're good, we'll go. Until they found out they already had plans for the weekend. Mm-hmm. And Sunday, man, even up to Sunday, like you said, you can't disappoint a picture. So I was trying to think of every single thing I could say during the autograph session. And the thing I loved about Chloe Bennet is she spent a lot of time talking to the fans. It got to the point where it's like 30 minutes left and she hadn't even gotten to the general admission. So she already spent like an hour 15 with just the people in the VIP. She literally said, oh, hey, stand to the side, call your friend, I'll talk to them on the phone. She did that at least 3 times while waiting in line.
Wow.
And she gave her hugs. She said happy birthday to a couple of people. She really enjoys meeting her fans. Mm-hmm. And so when it was finally my turn, unfortunately, it was already the time. It's like, okay, we have to keep it short, so I didn't really get to say much. But I mentioned something like, here's a small tidbit. I kind of like K-pop back then, Korean pop music, and I recognized her when I first saw the first episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, I've seen her face before. She was in a music video for a Korean pop group called Big Bang, which is actually a big deal in Korea. Mm-hmm. And I asked her, I told her, I was like, I recognized you somewhere before I watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. when you were announced. And she went, was it Big Bang's Tonight music video? Mm-hmm. I was like, how did you know that was what I was going to say? I assume she probably gets it a lot, but she started singing the song to me. And it's awesome. Like, she was like, even though I don't know what they're saying, it was fun to do, And I also, when she signed my autograph, she asked for what name, and I said Nick Ryan. It's like, wow, that's a really cool celebrity name. And then I was like, well, that's actually my first name. And she was like, really? And I told her I had five names. I have 2 first names, 2 middle names, and a last name. I told her all of it, and she literally said, fuck off. And I was like I was so surprised and caught off guard because she's a TV person, and I would never hear her cuss in my entire life.
Not on ABC, not unless she makes an appearance on Daredevil.
And that's my memory now of her saying that to me.
There you go, man.
And I tried to get her to sign my ticket as well, but of course the people there said, no, only one autograph. But she kept nodding her head like, yeah, give it to me. So I left it on the table. Nothing happened, but she really wanted to sign it.
So now you don't have a ticket.
Well, I ended up getting another ticket for somewhere else, but that's different. But she
cool,
was
man.
Genuinely nice. She loves her fans.
You got some good stories, man.
Yeah.
It sounds like you had a very positive experience. That's good.
Right after, I decided to go get a picture with her as well. So that's why you saw that on Skype. And
if she comes back, I'll probably just go get a picture with her.
Yeah, I actually...
That's why I hate Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'll be like, yeah, were you in that Korean music video?
Hey.
I'm a big K-pop fan. And even though you don't know what they're saying, it's just a lot of fun to do, isn't it? Anyway.
Well, when I saw her for the autograph session, she's like, "Oh, hey, welcome back. It's good to see you again." Either she actually remembered who I was.
I think they do. They remember because it's only been like a couple hours or something. So.
It was actually not even an hour. It was like 30 minutes because she was rushed. Right. But we hugged, And when we were posing, I did do the hover hand thing that people do.
The hover hands, yes.
So I brought her in close, and then all of a sudden she went. All of a sudden she went, "Hey, do you want to do a pose?" So she grabbed tightly to me, and like I had to grab tightly to her. I was just smiling. If you look at my photo,
this is getting steamy, man.
If you look at my photo, I had no idea what she meant about pose. I didn't know what to do.
Duck face or something.
Yeah, she started doing the duck face. I didn't even know what she did. I was just smiling because I was just like, "Oh my gosh, I'm hugging Chloe Bennet right now, and it's gonna be a photo of it." And unfortunately, I'm cheesing so much in the photo that I actually want to go back and take another photo with her the next time she's around, so I can get another one. But
that's awesome, man.
Hands down, favorite experience ever so far.
Cool.
Nice.
So
in your entire life.
No, it would be ranked up there.
No, absolutely. I feel she seems pretty cool. So I'm glad that you had some positive experience, and she's very cute, very attractive. So I'd probably get a picture with her next time.
I might have to watch season 2 now.
I didn't go that far. So, but no, the Marvel woman really brought it. You had Haley Atwell, you had Chloe Bennet, you had Colby Smulders, and you had Rosario Dawson.
So I mean, I love Rosario Dawson.
Well, don't we all?
Yeah, I know, but like she's like a women crush, every day for me. So when I found out she was coming, I was like, oh well, this is definitely happening. So I not only got the whole autograph thing with her, but I also got like a photo op with her also. So when I went to the autograph, like she talked for a few minutes, and like she was curious about like my college ring and shit, and she like wanted to wear it. And she was talking to like me and these other people in line about how when she was doing Josie and the Pussycats, how like they went to Jeff Goldblum's like hotel room because like he was there, and like they like were playing piano and like playing like drunken games and shit. And then it's like she just had some very interesting stories. She just struck me as somebody who's really, really cool, which is always a huge plus. And then in the photo shoot, when I showed up again, like just kind of how you were talking, Nick, how she remembered me. She was like, "Hey, hello again," and then and got the picture. She was super nice, super cool, and it was really good. It was really cool to see her. And I must say, our picture, like we look damn good together. So
there you go. Put that on your desk at work and make people be like, "Who is?"
Yeah, I know. Right?
I didn't realize you use Woman Crush every day, and I realized you work at school too. So yeah, Chloe Bennet is my Woman Crush every day as well. So that's why I was pretty excited to go.
So while you guys were getting all these awesome pictures with these beautiful women, I was at the Gotham panel.
Oh yeah,
Gotham. I watched the first half of the first season. Lance jumped off right before the Joker came on the show.
Yep.
Which is an absurd sentence for the first season of Gotham with Bruce Wayne's. I thought, okay, in the comics Bruce Wayne is 8. In the show I thought, oh, maybe he's like 10, but apparently he's like 12 or 13. So they're really aging him up. But be that as it may, you shouldn't have all these villains show up. So just conceptually, the show is flawed from the start. So, but if it was entertaining enough, I would still watch it for sure. But it's just so bad. But the whole cast was there, and they were very nice. Donald Logue had some nice things to say about NASA because the Gotham cast went on a tour of NASA. The girl who plays Catwoman, what was her name?
Carmen Bicandova.
Carmen Bicandova, yeah. She actually favorited our tweet that I made that I said, oh, we sang happy birthday to her. That was nice. They seem like a really cool cast of people. But I must say, it is funny. You have the Gotham panel, right? No Ben McKenzie.
Nope.
No Robin Lord Taylor.
Nope. No David Mazouz.
Yeah, no Bruce Wayne, no David Mazouz. Not even a Fish Mooney. Not even a Jada Pinkett Smith. So it's like all the major people are not there. So this would be like the Star Trek equivalent of the original series if you have a panel with no Kirk, Spock, or McCoy. All right? You just have Uhuru. Did I say Uhuru? Sulu, Uhura, Scotty, and Chekhov. But look, they were cool. I'm not going to be a hater or anything. They answered some good questions. Look, they were nice people. Their show, not so much. But the guy that played the Joker, actually, it's once again absurd. That's the guy that played the Joker on Gotham. He actually had some knowledgeable things to say about comics. He said every time they have a different creative team on a comic book on a run, it has a completely different tone and look. And this is just like another approach or another take on the Batman story.
No, the Riddler said that.
No, the Joker said that.
I'm pretty sure it was the Riddler.
According to my live tweets, as I'm looking at right now, the Joker said that.
You don't know. You don't pay attention because you don't like the show anyway. So you probably missed that. That was the Riddler that said that.
No, that was the Joker.
It was the Riddler because he was talking about different Riddler stories, man.
No, that was at the end. Okay, but before that, the Joker guy said it.
It was the Riddler.
Yes, he said his favorite Riddler story is the Riddle Factory. Mm-hmm. Have you read that, Lance?
No. I heard it's good though.
I might be interested to read it because there is no definitive Riddler story. Other than Hush, maybe, I guess.
Hush tried to be, but...
Hush was...
Did you finish Hush, Nick, by the way?
Yes, I did. I actually read it to read Batman Beyond Hush, which just did not, but I loved Hush. Hush got me back into... I started buying more comics after reading Hush.
So did most people back in 2003.
Yeah, I was about to say, just to give you some context, Nick, Hush came out, before... your freshman year. I remember writing about Hush weekly, monthly in English class.
Oh man!
I thought you were going to say it in your live journal. No, Cameron Monaghan. That's the guy. He plays the Joker, and he's the one that said that earlier. And yes, you're right. What's his name? Corey Michael Smith. Yeah, he mentioned about a similar thing later in the panel. So, yeah, all these guys seem cool, but I'm sorry, I'm just not going to watch Gotham. Don't bother watching it, Nick. It's not worth it. So after that, actually, it was the George Takei panel. George Takei, he played Mr. Sulu on Star Trek. It was pretty much what I expected. He had some very nice things to say about Leonard Nimoy and Grace Lee Whitney, two icons of Star Trek who passed away recently. Of course, George Takei, I was waiting on it. He had to get his dig in on William Shatner. I was just wondering what form it was going to take because the guy just won't let it go. He basically... People were asking him what he thought about the new J.J. Abrams movies. And what he said was, look, they're a lot of fun. It's a great, fun movie-going experience, but they lack the subtlety and the messages, the issues being tackled that the Star Trek proper, used to do. And that's what, made it so special. And I agree with him. I mean, that's pretty much my opinion of the new J.J. Abrams movies anyway. But then, he was saying, can you imagine, they do a lot of running around. Can you imagine, Chris Pine, he's a good-looking guy. He's running around. It's great. Can you imagine Shatner running around? Oh, you wouldn't want to see that. It's like, come on. Just a cheap shot at William Shatner. Whatever, it was expected, and it's pretty tame considering most of the things he said about him in the past. But, the most interesting thing that he had said is, I had not heard this, but it was the origin of Oh My. Do you guys know what this is?
No.
So I have not.
He was saying it was 1990. He must have been doing the press for Star Trek 5 or 6, and he was booked to go on the Howard Stern show. And George Takei goes to Howard Stern's studio, and he's sitting in the lobby, and he's sitting there with another guest who's going to be on the show before him. And he's sitting there, reading a magazine, and he's like, I hear this very lewd, just radio show with the most horrible things I've ever heard on the speaker. And I said, can we turn this off and get some nice music in here? And the guy next to him says, that's the show we're about to go on. So George Takei, he goes in and sits down behind the microphone. He says, hello. And Howard Stern says, wow, you have a deep voice. You must have a big dong. And Takei says, excuse me? And he says, you have a deep voice. You must have a big dong. And Takei says, are we live? And Stern says, yeah, we're live. And that's when he says, oh my. And that's the sound clip that Howard Stern, he saved that sound clip, and he plays it on his show whenever something outrageous happens. And that's why it's the meme that it is today. Because a lot of people think he said it in Star Trek or something, but no, it's from the Howard Stern show. And he's actually gone back dozens of times to be on Howard Stern. He's kind of a mainstay over there. I always wondered where that came from. I've seen every episode of Star Trek and every movie. I don't remember Sulu ever saying that. but that's the story behind Oh My. But that was day 3. I guess, is that all you did on day 3, Nick?
Yes, that was all I did. I wanted to go to the Chloe Bennet panel, but I had to leave early. I had plans ready for the rest of the day.
That takes us to Monday, which is the last day of Comicpalooza, and it was probably the shortest day. Was Memorial Day. I did some Memorial Day stuff with my family beforehand, and showed up later in the afternoon. But I got there in time to see the Summer Glau Q&A with Lance.
Oh,
so we. I
really wanted to go to that as well, but work tied me down. So
gotcha.
At least I got a comp day for Memorial Day.
Nice. I was live tweeting throughout this whole thing, and this is actually the one panel where my live tweeting actually worked the best, so it's actually able to keep up instead of having to post them all after it was all over. And the first thing I tweeted was, over-under on questions Summer Glau will get on the Cape. and then at the end I said, nope, no questions on the Cape, because I just love bringing up that show, because Community brings up the show too, so I'm glad. I just appreciate that awareness of just the most absurd niche series of superherodom. Which I've never seen the Cape. Have you ever seen the Cape, Nick?
I've only seen the previews for it, and when I saw the preview, I was like, "Are they really making a show like this?"
They canceled Heroes for this. Anyway, Summer Glau had a lot of cool things to say about Terminator, about Serenity, Firefly. She talked about her first interview, her first audition with Joss Whedon. How she pretty much made up her resume, how it wasn't real. She came from a dance world, so she talked about how her physicality, using it in all her roles was. I mean, and you can see that in any role she plays. River and Cameron especially. She said she liked working a lot in TV, except for the part where they get canceled, because she has some pretty bad luck with TV shows. I mean, she was on Firefly. She was on Terminator: Sarah Connor Chronicles, which was a great show, by the way.
Yes.
She was on the Cape, as we mentioned. She was also on Dollhouse with Joss Whedon, and that got canceled.
That's
too.
right.
I don't know if it's her, Joss Whedon, or what, but she's got bad luck with TV goes. And she was on Arrow and got killed off. So spoiler. Anyway, she was very nice with all her fans. Had some really you could just tell, like, she emanated like a happiness to be there. Yes. And she said this in the panel. She said, I like doing these because I can come and thank you guys for being our fans. And Marina Sirtis said something similar at the end of her panel. I wanted to mention, I forgot. She basically said at the end, hey, look, everyone, anyone in Hollywood owes everything to the fans. So the reason we live the lives we do is because of you guys. So thank you very much. It was very heartfelt. I have a pretty good BS detector. So yes, these are actors. I felt all this was genuine. Didn't you feel the same way, Lance? Yeah.
I agree.
So they don't have to say stuff like that, but it's nice that they do. And I really feel like they mean it. It's coming from the heart. So, and I actually met Summer Glau after the Q&A. She took her time with everyone. She talked to him for a while. And it took a while to get through the line, but I didn't mind. I actually appreciated it. The fact that she wasn't just, running people through like numbers. I got to take a picture with her. Her husband was the guy taking the picture. I commented on his epic beard because he had like almost a James Harden beard going. And, he took a couple pictures. He took like a far picture, and he took a real close picture. And they go like, hey, Cheese, let's see your teeth. So, I actually smile. I'm more of a smirker than a smiler, but the smiling picture turned out pretty well too. So yeah, she was real nice. She's from Texas. She was saying that, and one of the themes in her Q&A was there. I was like, hey, what if you could play another superhero? What would it be? Or Marvel or DC or blah 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 blah. And she's like, to be honest, I don't really read comic books or know that much about them. She's like, maybe I should.
genuine answer.
Yeah. And then I told her at the end, hope to see you on TV again soon. Doesn't matter if it's Marvel or DC, we'll watch it anyway, so don't worry about that. So she was like, thank you, and her husband was like, yeah. Because it's just, I swear, it's a logical question. The nerd culture, everyone's like, hey, I want to see Summer Glau as Captain Marvel or, whatever, right? She can do other things. Signed Serenity picture from her, no power in the verse. Yeah. Can't stop the signal! You heard that story on our podcast before, Nick? You know what we're talking about?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I do.
A true fan. Thank you. To the last.
No problem.
Yeah, and so, then we pretty much walked the floor after that, and that was it. Saw some interesting toys while we were there and bought a couple things here and there. Actually, I found this awesome comic book. It was The Flash TV special #1. It was from the 1990 Flash series. So it had 2 stories set in that universe. It had a season 1 episode guide. Sadly, a series episode guide, and a very in-depth, like I'm like a dozen pages, I kid you not, behind the scenes, on the set during production story about the Flash and how they were making the show back in the 90s. It was really insightful, very well done, and you don't see that stuff in comics anymore these days. It's all this fluff stuff, like Channel 52, buy everything we come out with next month. Very impressed by that, and then I also was able to complete my run on Gotham Central. Because, as I was alluding to, Lance and I are getting out of new comic books, so I'm kind of looking back and collecting older stuff that I would want to read. And Gotham Central has been at the top of my list for a long time. Lance has a lot of the graphic novel collections, so I've read one of those. Loved it. Thought it was excellent. Thought that should have been Gotham, the TV show. So
That's a discussion.
That's the story for another time. So I'm actually just missing number 7 on Gotham Central, and then I have the complete run. So those are my favorite purchases of Comicpalooza. And I got this awesome Godzilla vs. King Kong artwork by Chet Art. I saw it about a year ago at a gallery in Austin, and I would have bought it, but they were out of prints. So he was at Comicpalooza this year, and I bought that. So it's Godzilla and King Kong like playing video games. It's as if they had like a sleepover. Like it has like pizza. They have like little army guys, and they're playing like a Nintendo or something. So it's pretty cute, and it's pretty well done.
I got a pretty dope Leonardo Ninja Turtle as a samurai. Really cool.
Yeah, same guy. Yeah, it was from Chet Art. Check them out on Twitter at Chet Art if you want cool nerd stuff. I like when they put a twist on it. You know, that's what makes it special and memorable. So yeah, I mean, what else did you? I mean, Lance, you also got Kevin Eastman's autograph.
I did. That was also part of my part of Sunday for me. Was meeting Kevin Eastman and hearing him talk a little bit. Kevin Eastman is the creator of Ninja Turtles, along with Peter Laird. But Kevin Eastman is still involved. He's most of his discussions and stuff were about his well, at least that I was a part of, were about the ongoing series currently right now with IDW, which is fantastic. I mean, it's the best thing that I read every month is that Ninja Turtles, and it's a large part because he is behind it, and he's the voice behind it. He's the creator, so he would know. Very cool. It was good to meet him. He was a real nice guy. Like Summer Glau, like his wife, took care of like pictures and stuff like that with his booth. So it's cool to see the family getting involved with this.
Mm-hmm. So Nick, did you buy anything while you were there?
I did get a lot of comic books. There was a couple of places that had 50% off trade backs. So I just grabbed whatever was interesting I had no guidance. I did pick up Batman Year One.
Have you not read that before?
I haven't read it.
It's insane. It's insane.
I that's how behind.
Have you read Dark Knight Returns?
No, I haven't.
Oh my god! Okay,
so,
look, okay. Stop.
So,
okay, when you read these comic books, let us know. We'll have another episode with you discussing these things.
Oh my god!
No one in our circle of friends in our nerddom has not read these books, so this is very interesting to us.
That was actually what I was going to ask: is if you guys can recommend me what I should be reading.
Yeah.
So.
If you ever want to read recommendations, just ask Lance. He has an encyclopedic knowledge of these things. So
okay, will do. But I did pick up Batman Year One. I got some new.
Make sure after you read Year One, you read Batman Year Two. It's very essential.
Yeah.
No.
Fear the Reaper.
I'll have to figure that out. But I did get Batman Year One. I got a couple issues of Chew that I didn't have. Chew is a great, interesting comic if you guys ever heard of it.
What is that
Chew,
about?
It's kind of hard to explain because he works for the FDA and yes, the Federal Drug Group. And basically, chicken has been banned because of the bird flu. Salmonella. But really, there might be a conspiracy behind it. So there's all these people like smuggling chicken around and everything like that. Anyways, so this guy's powered, Tony Chu, he can eat anything. So if he eats like chicken, he can see where the chicken came from, who the day gave birth, and all like.
So it's like iZombie but with chickens.
Yeah, well, with food, same thing with bananas. If he eats bananas, he can see where it came from, except for beets. So he only eats beets because he can't see how it was made. Now,
because you never want to know. You never want to know how it's made. Yeah.
Right. The thing is, his power. There's only like 3 or 4 people in the world with it, and he gets hired by the FDA to eat people.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's like iZombie. When I saw iZombie, it's like, hey, this is the same storyline as Chew, but not so much because he's not a zombie. But yeah, he gets the memories of the last person who killed him.
So what does he eat?
He eats beets.
No.
Oh, anything from the person. Anything. It could be
like a finger.
He can take a bite out of him. If he tastes the guy's blood, he can see a brief memory as well. Like there was a part where he got punched and he cut the guy's hand and he saw what he did beforehand. So it's a very interesting concept.
That's interesting.
And he has a boss who hates him, so he purposely puts him on like really, really dumb cases, like where he had to eat a freeze-dried dog in order to get the memories of the dog. It's a very, very, really.
So is he Asian?
Yes, and he's Asian.
Because I figured with a name like Chew.
I was thinking about cosplaying as him because the only thing you had to do is wear a suit and a badge that says FDA. But the simpler you go, the better it has to be. So I'll I'll have to hold off for the next con. But
That's
it's
interesting. It sounds like a character you found on like Heroes or something.
yeah. For me, I really want to get to what you guys were saying, the older ones that obviously have really good, strong stories, and I am very open to any recommendations. So
All right, cool.
definitely will get interested in seeing what you guys have for me.
Have you read Watchmen?
I have not read Watchmen.
Have you seen
Dude!
Have you seen the movie?
I've seen the movie.
Well, the movie's better anyway. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I think that's probably why I haven't read it, because I saw the movie.
Do you agree with that, Lance?
No.
You think the book's better?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
And it's not because I didn't like the movie. It's just, the book is just better. And I'm gonna go out on a limb and assume you haven't read V for Vendetta either.
No, I haven't.
Movie's better.
Add it to your list.
Movie is better on that one for sure.
I'm
Yes.
writing them down, or I'm putting in my Wonder List app.
And
So-
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
No.
Hey, I really enjoyed that movie growing up. I had so much hate, but I actually really enjoyed it.
It ended Sean Connery's acting career.
Exactly what I was going to say, though. I wish Sean Connery would come out of retirement so that wouldn't be his last movie.
Well, it was either that or Indiana Jones 4, so I don't know which one's worse. Well, cool. It's been fun talking about Comicpalooza with you guys. Obviously, we'll all be back next year. Mm-hmm. I think we've all learned to get the 4-day pass and get your tag in advance.
I'll try to make a point to hang out with you guys.
No, let's just see what happens, Nick. Well, cool, Nick. So if people want to find you on social media, how should or if you want them to, how should they find you?
I don't use Twitter that much, but if I do, it's at Nick Ryan, so NickRyan. And I know you're not a big fan of Instagram, but I am on Instagram. I post everything there, and it's also nickryan.jpg, so like JPEG. So you can have periods and everything. So it's nickryan.jpg
Well,
if you ever.
If we open up an Instagram account, Nick, I'll put you in charge of that.
Sounds good.
And Lance, how can people find you?
I am on Twitter at Sir Lance Laster.
That's right. And don't forget to check him out on Wednesday nights.
That's right.
At 1 a.m.
Damn.
And I am at Guardian of Forever with the number 4 ever. That is a Star Trek reference.
It's also ridiculous.
That is from the greatest Star Trek episode of all time. So slow your roll.
I'm just saying.
We're Nerds Explain It All. If you want to find us, we're at Nerds Explain. Or you can email us at nerdsexplainitall@gmail.com. So this is fun this week, talking about Comicpalooza. We were going to talk about The Flash, but, it was either now or never to talk about Comicpalooza because it just happened. So it's fresh on our minds. I wanted to share our story. I think we had some great stories here, guys. Nick especially, man. He had some great stories with Stan Lee and Chloe Bennet. That's good stuff, man. So
Thank you.
I'm glad you enjoyed it, Comicpalooza, so much. And I'm glad you took the time to share your experiences here with us on the show. So for all of us here at Nerds Explain It All, I'm Zach.
I'm Lance.
And I'm Nick.
There you go, Nick. You can say it. It's okay. And remember, we don't break the news, but we do break it down. See you guys next time.